So, you want to launch a subscription box and don't know where to start? Girl, you are in the right place. I'm Julie Ball, a subscription box coach, and your host here at Subscription Box Basics, a podcast for new and aspiring subscription box entrepreneurs that want to avoid overwhelm. So grab a coffee, some pen and paper, and let's have some fun. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Subscription Box Basics. I am super pumped today because I have a guest that we featured in Sparkle, Hustle, Grow and was by far my favorite guest expert of the entire year so far. It helped me take the most action in my business. So I was like, I have to have her on the podcast. So today you get to meet my friend, Melanie Dyann Howe, and we will call her Mel because we're friends like that. Mel is a self-proclaimed tech junkie who shows you how to look and sound like a pro without breaking the budget and getting over the overwhelm of tech and software. So she is going to talk to us today about live video marketing. Before I let you introduce yourself, I have to tell everyone, Mel, she told me in her bio that she wants to live in a world where small businesses thrive, craft beer flows like tap water, and women are empowered to make their dreams become a reality. I felt like that was just like, I had to read that with some emotion. So Mel, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, you're hired. You're hired. I love it. It's fantastic. Thanks, Julie. I'm really excited to be here today with you. This is going to be fun.
Awesome. Okay. So live video marketing, there's a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about, why we need to do it, how to do it, what to do about fear. But first, will you give everyone a little bit of peek behind the scenes and who's Mel?
Sure. Yeah. So I have been where do we start, right? Like, where do we start? The bio is funny. One of my really good dear friends who is much better at copywriting than I am, wrote that piece. She actually wrote just because she knows me, right? So,
yeah.
I really am very passionate about helping women really just do more. I mean, we have to work harder. We all know that, right? To make our dreams become reality. And I am just all about it. When I see a woman overcome, stigmas, or I'm also a big fan of the underdog. And I feel like so many times us ladies, we're like the underdog in this world. So I love seeing women do great things, but I really especially love it when a woman can feel connected to herself, feel comfortable, feel confident, and really put herself out there, especially like using social media, because it's such a great way to make connections, whether it be with people like peers or network themselves or with their customers. And so I love using live video personally, because I think that it actually is the most impactful way that you can make that process happen for you, but it speeds that process up. And also just, you can send someone a text, right? You can send them a text with a picture or a GIF. You can send them an audio message, but if you sent them a video, it just has a lot more power. And I think that with social media, using live video is just another one of those things that we need to all be embracing and doing and using. And so that's what I've been spending my time doing the last few years, is learning about live video, really leveling up my own live videos. I kind of get obsessed with software and apps and tech, and I really enjoy all of those processes and of like literally exploring that stuff. And most people don't, because they're just like, I don't have time to figure this tool out. Yeah. And I really love it. And I got to the point where I thought, you know what, that's my jam. Like, I'm going to spend the time figuring it out and then make it easy for everybody else by just pointing out the things that they need to do. And I think that, I don't know. I just am feeling really connected with what I've got going on right now. But I've been self-employed since 2014, and it's been an interesting journey. I've kind of ebbed and flowed with how I've helped people and how I've served people, but it all comes down to helping people do their own marketing, doing it themselves, DIY style, and all around really just about putting themselves out there. The consistent thing I continue to focus on is embrace your personal brand and put yourself out there and use social media to do it. So that's kind of the thing. And, personal stuff, I'm a single mom. So I'm that, I got my little girl and she just started middle school. And so we're in that right now. That's going to be interesting, but
mine just turned 10.
Oh yeah. So, I love being self-employed because it does give me not only creative freedom for what I get to do, but also I get to kind of own my schedule and figure things out. And I'm able to, just be focused on her and my family and all the other fun things. So there you go.
Awesome. I think the Subscription Box Basics audience is really going to resonate with you because you talk about how to DIY We've got a lot of bootstrappers. We've got a lot of people that are trying to launch a business on a budget. And I know you talk about getting scrappy. So I think they're really going to resonate with you.
Yeah, scrappy is where it's at. I kind of feel like I specialize in scrappy for a lot of reasons, but and I think we hear that as entrepreneurs, right? Like, hey, you have to be scrappy. You have to be scrappy. You hear all the time, successful entrepreneurs, they're the ones that take action. They're the ones that don't overthink things. They just take action. They go, go, go. And that sounds great, but the reality is there's a lot of us that are perfectionists for a lot of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And so they tell us, be scrappy, be scrappy. And I'm like, yeah, but scrappy like also can be kind of amazing. And so I always say, hey, scrappy doesn't have to be crappy. And so don't think of it as you're just skipping steps or not putting out quality stuff. Like you can be scrappy. I mean, I'm pretty scrappy when it comes to certain things. So, and I like to pride myself on that. So
there you go. I love it. Okay. Before we get into it, I have to tell the really quick story about how you and I met. So a couple of years ago, I was at an entrepreneur experience with Amy Porterfield. Mel was on stage. I think you introduced Amy at one point, right? Because you're one of her course DCA students, right?
Yeah. They did these kind of, minutes of motivation from students. Yeah. And so I got, to go on stage and talk a little bit and then introduce her for her next segment.
Yes. So that was the first time I ever saw you. And then you received a Sparkle Hustle Grow box as a gift, right?
Yep.
And you went live and you were talking about it and sharing it on social media. And so I jumped in the DMs and I just said, Melanie, thank you so much for sharing about Sparkle Hustle Grow. And, we just started having this conversation in the DMs and that grew into this relationship, this friendship where we featured you in Sparkle Hustle Grow. And so the reason I'm telling you, the listeners, this is you just never know who you're going to connect with, whose hands your box might show up in and how they might share it on social media, and to take advantage of every single opportunity to connect with your subscribers or your gift recipients. It was so fun, the trajectory of that conversation, Mel.
It really was. And honestly, I've used that example even in my own podcast a couple times because, again, same thing. I went live to basically, first of all, your subscription box, just the experience as someone receiving it, and I received it as a gift, it was just so great. And I was like, this is freaking awesome. First of all, I love subscription box. I love the concept of it. I think there's so many unique, creative ways that people can have these subscription boxes. So to get this as a gift, I loved it. Though I opened it up and there were so many things that you did and did well. And I was like, this sounds so familiar. And so it was interesting because I knew I had heard of you before. And it was, of course, through the Amy Porterfield circle, but I'd never actually met you and we didn't have a relationship. We had no connection whatsoever. And I was like, I went live for my own audience. I went on live video and this video in particular had nothing to do with, it was all about, hey, this is how you deliver an exceptional customer experience. And I had kind of like looked at your business and I was like, she's doing so many things so well. And so I just went on and I just like shared what it was like. And I talked about the things in the box and talked about how, you were marketing yourself and using live video even to talk about things. And I just used you as this example that I was sharing with my own audience. And then to get that message from you, I literally was like, she's doing everything I tell my people to do. She's reaching out to me. She's not texting me. She's sending me an audio DM, which is I totally preach about this, but it made me feel so special and connected. And so I love that you went that extra mile and sent me that. And then of course, like you said, fast forward, next thing you know, you're presenting me with opportunities. We're helping each other. We're collaborating. Mm-hmm. We have this friendship now. And also even outside of the friendship, it's an opportunity, right? Here I am on your podcast. That's an opportunity for me to expand my audience. And that is actually because I went live. I went and created a live video. If I had just made a post and said, oh, this box is so fun, blah, 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 blah. You get those all the time. You get hundreds of those every month. You would not have reached out most likely. You may have like sent me like a heart or, something pretty simple. But because I did go a little extra and I went live, you were like, whoa, but you also got to hear my voice, see my face. You got to see how excited I was. You probably felt connected to me and felt compelled to reach out. And then again, fast forward, here we are. And so again, that's the power of going live. That's the power of video.
Yeah, it's funny too, because the first question in this interview was going to be, why should we go live? And we just kind of told a story of how it has this ripple effect. It creates opportunities. It allows you to connect with people. So, I mean, I think we kind of answered that first question. Why should we even go live?
I mean, really, it boils down to this, Julie. We're not using social media to sell, right? So you guys are not using social media to sell your subscription boxes. Now, some people are like, speak for yourself. Here's the deal. You're really not. Like, you're using social media to make connections, to share points. Yes, the ultimate result you want is to get more subscribers, to make more connections with audience members, right? To build your list, whatever it is you're doing. But we're using social media to make those connections, to share content, to tell the stories, to, again, get people to like us, or maybe they don't like us. Like, hey, let me tell you something. Everybody that arrives in my world, they may or may not like me. They may be like, that girl is way too much for me. Her lights are way too crazy. She is not my style. And that's okay, right? That's okay. So people need to make that decision, and they use social media. They hear about you, so they're going to go stalk you. So they're going to look at your social media content, and they're going to be like, who is this chick? They're going to look you up, look you around. Okay, she's kind of my style. Subscribe. I'm going to keep following her. And then they're going to decide, they're going to get to know you, and your social media helps them get to know you. And then, of course, when they trust you is when they become a customer. And so that whole like, know, and trust factor of social media is why we use it. But with live video, you speed that process up. You also are like refining it. So I can post pictures, and I can put text, and I can, have things right. But when people literally hear the words I use, they hear how I say things, they see my face, they can hear my voice. It's such a faster connection, right? And also that process of, am I a good fit for them, as a person they want to follow and kind of hang out with, or am I not? And they can make that decision a little bit more wisely when they actually are, again, watching you on video. So the reason live video is so powerful is because of that authentic factor that you can create and how you can actually show up online. You really can't compare it to any other type of social media content.
And I think it's even more important now that in-person events have really been scaled back over the past year and a half. And we still are able to connect with people on a more personal level by doing video. And so, so we're going to now answer some questions that I know everybody's wondering in their head. And the first question is, what do we even talk about when we go live?
Yeah. So this comes up a lot, especially for people who are new to this concept, or maybe nobody's really new to live video, meaning most people have heard, hey, live video is a thing you can do in your social media content. So most everybody knows about live video. I mean, you can go live on Instagram, of course. You can go live on Facebook. You can go live on YouTube. If you're approved, you can go live on LinkedIn. There are other platforms as well that support live video. So live video is everywhere. In fact, technically, when you're in a Zoom call, it's really live video, right? Yeah. If you're in a video meeting, it's kind of like it's live. You're live right there. It's not pre-recorded or edited. So, but you make a great point about the virtual stuff too. And I think that, everybody's getting used to live video, but people always say, okay, great. I'm sold. Okay. I'll explore it. I'll think about it. But what do I do in my content? Yeah. It's because it's longer. It's longer than a, 2-paragraph Instagram post, right? So here's the thing. There's a ton of ideas that you can come up with, but I have some that I kind of thought about for, subscription box businesses specifically. First of all, you can go live about anything. Like if you tell me you've run out of ideas, then I'm going to tell you that what you're doing is you're overthinking and you're putting too many filters in place, because you can go live all the time about stuff. But the first thing I want to say before we start talking about specifically ideas is that don't just go live when it's time to promote something, right? It's the same thing with social media content. Don't just post something when you have something to sell.
When you're launching.
You should be posting regularly, because again, you are nurturing your audience. They are getting to know you. They are making deeper connections to you. And so think of your live videos no differently. And so don't just be like, okay, well, I'm going to go live every time I launch a box or every time I, do whatever. I want you to go live consistently and regularly. And ideally that would be once a week, same day, same time each week. That's ideal. Now that doesn't fit everyone's schedule, right? Somebody, they're just like, my schedule's different every week. I get that. I already said I'm an entrepreneur. I like to be flexible with things. I like to have that creative freedom. I resisted this for a long time, Julie. All the experts tell you, do it the same day, same time each week. Same thing with podcast episodes. Release it on the same day every week, weekly, right? I resisted this for a long time because I was like, I didn't want to be boxed in, like no pun intended, but I
Yeah.
just didn't want to be boxed in. Finally, about little less than a year ago, I finally decided, you know what? I want to make sure that I don't skip any weeks. I want to do this. I'm going to go all in. I'm going to be consistent. So I put it in my schedule, Tuesdays, 2:00 Eastern time. And I put it in as a reoccurring meeting just so that I would more as a reminder, didn't really know
Yeah.
how long I was going to keep this up. And what I started to see were people coming and coming and keeping coming live. So people were showing up, more and more people were starting to show up live. And my existing audience was like, I love that you're doing it the same day, same time each week. I don't have to look around or wonder when you're going live. I just know
Yeah.
Tuesdays at 2:00. Our brains are wired that way. If you think about your favorite TV show that comes on, right? You know the day that it comes out and the time that it is going to be on. So you're either going to make sure you get to sit down and watch that for your favorite TV show at that time. Or if you happen to not be available, what do? You know you missed it because you know the day and time it was on, and you're going to go watch the replay. You're going to go watch the
Yep,
recording,
do
right?
it.
So it's the
Yep.
exact same thing with live video. So that's the first thing I kind of wanted to say. So then naturally the question is Mel, that's 52 videos a year. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So here are a few ideas for everybody to think about. So I want you to be thinking about, like, how can you showcase the stories behind the contents or the concept of your subscription box. So I know that there are so many cool subscription boxes. There's, pet subscription boxes. I know I was just listening to one of your podcasts where you're talking about niching, right? Niching down. And you're like, don't just be a pet subscription box, be like a particular breed. Like, so pet subscription box, right? There's pet supplies, there's crafts. Maybe you're making the stuff in the subscription box. Maybe you're collaborating with other makers for the products in the subscription box. Maybe you're going online and you're buying things at mass quantity and you're hand picking things that go in that box, right? Either way, the box contains these things. Well, tell us the story. Like, why did you select that particular maker to partner with for your box? Tell that maker's story. Are they a single mom who, this is their side gig? They go to work every day, and then every single night they paint these handcrafted ornaments, that you're picking these to put in your box. Tell her story. Right. So you can do that by you showcasing it or bringing her on as a guest. So just tell the stories behind the things in there. Obviously, you can do that as you are building up, getting ready to ship your box whenever it's going to be. The other one was kind of similar. Take us behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, it doesn't matter what business you're in. Anytime you go behind the scenes and show people how you're doing something or what the reality of something is, or again, where you're going to acquire these supplies, take us behind the scenes, take us on that journey with you. People love behind the scenes. They just like it. Yeah. It's like you're pulling back the curtain and it's like, oh, I get to see a little something else there. You know what I mean? So no matter what business you're in, you can find a way to take them behind the scenes. So for example, if you are making the items in your box, okay, if you're a crafter or a painter or any of those types of people, then okay, what would behind the scenes look like? Behind the scenes looks like go live, turn on your camera, go live and be like, today I am, setting up, all of my paint supplies so that I can start the process of painting all of these ornaments. We're going to stick with ornaments for now.
Okay.
So yeah. So, but like for them get to see, oh, wow, I didn't realize she only used 10 different colors and then she mixes them. And wow, that's quite the like they instantly now feel more of a connection to that ornament. Right. So that's just one example about going behind the scenes.
And behind the scenes of packing the boxes.
Exactly.
Every single
Assembling.
month. If you're putting those items in there, show a little sneak peek or don't, just tease them with it. But they love it. By far, our behind the scenes social posts are the most engaged.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing I always tell people too, when I say behind the scenes, you're revealing something. There's an element of mystery. Whether someone like, here's the deal. If you're like, okay, okay, we're going to show the shipping process. We're going to be packing the boxes. That may not sound sexy or fun. And maybe your audience isn't literally like, banging down the door with the question of how do you package this?
Right.
They don't feel like that behind the scenes has to be something that they are asking you for. people just in general are just genuinely interested in that kind of stuff. There's, like I said, there's a pulling back the curtain, and they get to see something. I mean, it's just the way we're built as humans, I guess, and wired. So behind the scenes always perform well. They always do. And you're bringing them in. So we talked about trust, right? When you share behind the scenes, you're bringing them in. You're actually creating a little more trust because, hey, I'm showing you my garage that's not all fancy and organized and, maybe it's a little dusty and whatever, but like you're letting them see this. So again, you're building trust when you show behind the scenes as well. So that's a kind of a bonus one there for sure. Now, I talked about creating connection. I think ultimately the reason why I get really jazzed up about these businesses using live video is because, again, that connection. So the type of connection that I think you should ultimately be striving for is when someone's box arrives, okay? When that box shows up and they go out to their mailbox or they go out to their doorstep and they get that box, they are already kind of knowing what's in it and they're already anticipating. When they open it up, they know there's going to be an ornament in there and they know that you used 12 paint colors and you mixed them up and that's how custom this thing is. Like they feel so much more connected to that ornament that they're going to then go hang on their tree this year next to the one from last year and the one from the year before that you sent them or whatever it might be. But they now feel this connection. They actually already are anticipating. They're feeling ready for it. And so if you go live up, leading up to the shipment of your particular box, whether it be you and your business or whether it be the items specifically in the box, create that connection. Let them feel connected to it before it even shows up so that when it does show up, they're like, yay, I can't wait for this box. I already know what's in it. And I already know that this piece, this custom painted ornament is made by Mary and she's a single mom and she's a friend of, this person. And like, think about that. So your ultimate goal with a lot of this should be creating that connection. And I do think that live video is such a fun way to do that. So those are just a few, obviously. You do a really fun thing, Julie, in your own subscription box where you do kind of give us a tease. You give people a little bit of a tease about what's going on, and then you do an unboxing. And I love that whole unboxing thing. And the reason I like the unboxing is because you're creating a little bit of FOMO, right? And
we are, yeah. And I'm teaching my customers how to use the products too, because there are so many ways that you can use different products. And when I share, this is where I put it in my office and this is how I use it, so many of them are like, oh, I never thought about that. And the more you can teach your customers how to use your products, the more value they'll get out of it.
Absolutely. I love that idea of like, especially, if that is the particular, 100%, like show them how to utilize the items that are in there. You have picked them or made them or whatever, give them the reasons why, but then also help them utilize those items. Because again, like one, you're also going to potentially eliminate, disgruntled customers who maybe don't see the benefit of something that you're going to share something that they maybe didn't think of before. You also may be eliminating some of your support, types of questions that come in as well, because you're teaching them. And then again, they're feeling connected to you when they go. I mean, Julie, every time, do you see this thing? Every time I use this thing, which I'm not right. So those of you listening to the podcast, I'm holding up this rapid storage plastic thing.
Cord holder.
It holds my headphones. I wrap up my headphones in this thing. And but you can do so many other things with it. You can organize different cables and whatever with it. But every time I use it, I think of Julie. Oh, so I do. I think of Julie. And that, again, that's that connection that you want. So you want to create those connections with the products because that is going to keep people as you're going to maintain them as your customers. But the other thing you're going to do, which is the ultimate sweet spot, is you're going to create somebody who's an advocate and they're going to do what I did. And they're going to go share about their experience. And that person's going to say, this ornament is so gorgeous. I love this thing. I got it in this particular, holiday subscription box that I'm subscribed to. And this comes in the Christmas box. And I know that this woman named Mary painted this ornament and she's a single mom. And every time I look at it, I think of Mary and I think of her kids and I think of how she's helping pay for college, whatever. If you can create a connection like that and somebody goes and like shares and advocates for that on social media, you probably just earned yourself like another big batch of customers. So
yeah,
why you
super fans.
You can post a picture. I could post a picture of this cable management thing, not as sexy as me talking about it and showing like how I've got my headphones wrapped in it. Right. So again.
Right. And if you're listening and you're thinking, well, I have a surprise box, that's okay. You probably have other things you can share. For example, a theme. So for example, when we did the level up with live video, we could talk about on live video, what live video does for your business. So maybe we'll talk about that dog box. I was saying, if you have a pet box for a very particular breed of dog, well, maybe you talk about what the theme is and how that's going to help your dog have more fun this fall. Or, maybe it's going to, I don't know, you just share something about the theme and you talk about that, and that will help them make that connection, but also make sure that they renew to get that box. So
Absolutely.
You're using some of that FOMO that you had mentioned earlier. That's why we share a sneak peek, to be very honest with you. Like, we share at least one sneak peek and we share the theme, and we want to draw them in and say, this is why you need this. And this is how it's going to help you. I've heard this saying before, when it comes to marketing, lead with the transformation. So if you're talking about something that's going to be in that box or the theme for that month's box, what's the transformation someone's going to go through when they receive it or get that particular product?
Yeah. Like, start with the outcome, talk about the outcome that's going to happen. Yeah. I love that. The other,
awesome.
The ideas I shared were a lot of like preview-ish style, like, leading up to a box maybe shipping or arriving. So that I want your audience to also flip that. So, okay, what can you do after the box has arrived? And so one example would be, like you talked about, show them how to use the items in the box. Mm-hmm. But there are some really cool, and I would hope that there are people listening and in this that have the type of subscription that is, maybe it's a weekly craft or a monthly craft kit for kids, or it's a your own ornament making, kit, whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. Well, ship the box, but then like maybe the week after it arrives, you go live and you say, all right, here, we're going to do this. Like, think of it like, remember like when the Bob Ross paintings, like, and all that stuff, he literally would paint a whole painting, but you could literally follow along and try to paint that painting if you wanted to yourself too. Right.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe think of it that way, like actually literally go through it on a live video. But that's 1 week's worth of content, right? Well, then the next week, find one of your happy customers, bring them live with you and have them talk about or showcase theirs that they did.
Love it.
So, one of the things with technology these days with these live videos is it doesn't just have to be you, right? Mm-hmm. You can bring on guests on your live videos. There's applications. StreamYard is the application that you and I both, I know, use and love. And it makes it so easy to invite somebody to come on live with you. They don't even have to have like a Facebook account. They just follow the link. They come on, they're live with you. You're both talking, you're having a fun conversation. And it's again, when you have a guest on your show, you're actually creating more interest, and it's a lot of fun for your audience because you're mixing it up. It's not just you, right? So bring on people. How can you showcase other people in your shows too?
And the makers, the vendors. Yep. If you're going to a market and you're shopping like the Atlanta market or something, take your customers with you on live video.
Absolutely.
So that's a good segue into, we want to talk a little bit about the tech stack. Like, what technology do you use and what technology do you recommend for newbies? And we're going to make this super simple, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, here's the deal. It is crazy simple. Here, if you want to get started with live video, then you could literally pause this podcast right now or finish to the end, grab your phone that you're probably listening on, because you basically have $1,000 camera in your hand, right? I mean, essentially grab your phone and you can go live. Like, you really can. And so the absolute bare minimum that you need is a mobile device to go use live video. So if you're like, I don't want to spend a bunch of money or whatever, you don't have to. You probably already have a live video making machine right here in your hand. Mm-hmm. And so I always tell people, just get started with the phone. Now you're going to go live right there in the app. So you're going to open up Facebook, you're going to go to create a post, and one of the options is going to be live video. Well, there you go. That's all you need. Instagram, same thing. They are all very easy. YouTube, you have to have a certain number of subscribers to be able to use the mobile app to go live. Mm-hmm. But that's the basic way. Now, if you're wanting to, level up a little bit and do the things like I talked about with guests and maybe even some other fun things, then there are applications out there that make going live super easy, right? And Julie, I know
I
when you
love them
started
too.
using, StreamYard,
Oh,
you're like,
I'm
this is crazy.
obsessed with StreamYard. Oh, I
Yeah.
love it so much.
And there are so many out there, but StreamYard is app. In my opinion, I have used all of them. In my opinion, StreamYard is very user intuitive. It's very simple. The free plan that they have is very generous. They have paid plans that let you do lots of really cool things like add custom videos, add custom overlays if you want to really customize the branding experience, bring on more guests, and then multi-streaming. If you want to go live on YouTube and Facebook at the same time, then you can use these platforms to do that, which is exceptional when it comes to growing and expanding your audience. And so
Yeah.
if you want to do that, then all you need is you can actually use those applications on an iPad or on your phone so you can totally use them mobily. But if you wanted to, really level up, you can actually use a computer and have a webcam, whether it be a USB webcam, and then a microphone. And that is all you would need. And so if you're, wanting to create these really neat videos of you showing you making or assembling your box or making the products in it, you could totally use one of those applications and put the camera on your hands, show the process of how you're doing something, and also do things like display comments. So the possibilities are endless, but to get started, all you really need is a phone or a webcam and a computer, a decent, set of headphones with a mic on it, right? Or a USB microphone that you can get anywhere from $50 to $200, and lights. You need some decent lighting. And if you don't want to buy lights, then find a window or something in your house or in your studio and face a window. Natural light is actually an exceptional light resource that you can use. And if you have a ring light already, because maybe you're taking pictures and doing things for your business as it is, then use that. So, those are the basics to getting started. You can I know people that are multi-millionaires who just use their phone to create live videos, and they're not doing anything.
So we have no excuse.
Yeah. I mean, you can't sit there and tell me, well, in order to really get results, I need to have all these fancy things. You don't. There are people, that are keeping it super simple and super basic, and they are very successful, and they're just using their phone, or they're just using a basic webcam and StreamYard, and they're like global, like billionaires. Seriously. So
that's awesome. And one thing that you taught me, was to find a spot where you're comfortable doing that. And that's doing your live video and having it set up there on the regular. And that didn't require any big expenses. I used mostly things that I had already, and I created a nice little background. And that gave me so much more confidence to go live. And it seems so silly, but it's like, it's just part of my business now. Like, it's there. I sit down, I do my video. Sometimes I do videos on the go, but that is like, and it's almost like my home base for my live video.
Yeah.
So,
and I love that you brought that up, because honestly, one of the other barriers or resistance that I get when I tell people to go live 52 times a year, if not more than that, I hope you go live more than that, but is that they're just like, oh, it's such a process. I'm like, well, then reduce the process. And so the whole point is if you, get a dedicated space. Now, it doesn't have to just be for your live videos. Where I'm sitting right now is where I sit and create all my live videos. It's also where I sit and work. I mean, this is my office essentially. So a lot of people will, actually set up a corner in, their studio or in their office, and they'll just have that be their space for it. And the whole purpose and point of this is that when you sit down and you're like, especially as you get started with live video, you might feel some nerves or, a little bit of anxiety about creating the content or going live. So you want to eliminate anything else that's going to kind of create a barrier for you. And one of those barriers is going to be, oh, I got to get my camera set up. I got to move this light. I got to move this chair. I got to put this up over here. You want to remove all that stuff. And so the whole point of creating a dedicated space is so that you can literally go live. Like, you sit down, I'm ready to go, turn the lights on, boom, let's go live.
No excuses.
Yeah. And it will actually, it's kind of like there are people that will sleep in their workout clothes, and they put their workout shoes next to their bed because they are going to get up at 5 a.m. to go for a run. And they say the process of getting ready for the run makes me dread it and kind of I have time to talk myself out of it. But if I sleep in my running clothes, my shoes are right there. I get up, I brush my teeth, I grab my headphones, I put on my shoes, and I go run. And I'm out the door in 3 minutes. That is kind of a similar example. And so you really want to kind of just make it so that at any moment you could be ready to go live within 5 minutes. The other reason for it is that you might have a moment of spontaneity where you feel inspired or motivated, or you just got something and you're super excited. You want to be able to just go live. And so that actually will also help you create more spontaneous live videos, which I also suggest sprinkling in as well.
Nice. I think that's a great analogy with the workout clothes. I'm much more likely to do that if I wear my workout clothes, going to bed. So I love that analogy. Okay. So the last thing I want to talk about before we share some links to some goodies is what to do about fear, because I think that was one of the biggest things that held me back from going live. And I see it and I hear it from a lot of my Sparkle Hustle Grow community is like, we're really nervous. So you and I, when we were working together in your guest feature, we did a live video challenge where you could go live in the Sparkle Hustle Grow group just to practice. And I know one of the tactics that I've used to practice is I have a Facebook group, and you've suggested this as well. I have a private Facebook group where I'm the only member, and I just go live in there to test the technology to see what things look like, feel like. Nobody else sees it. I'm just going in there to practice. So other than that, what are some other, or maybe what's your top tip for the fear involved?
Yeah. So here's the thing. The fear may never go away. Right. And so a couple of things I have to say about it. The only way that let me back up actually. If you wait till you're ready, you're never going to go live.
You're never. Yeah.
That's the whole point, right? Like you're never going to feel ready. You're never going to feel equipped. You're never going to feel skilled enough. You're never going to feel like I got this. It's going to be perfect and it's going to be amazing. Like when you're just getting started with something like this, you're never going to feel the way you desire to feel that's going to help you click go live. So the best advice I can give you is just hit the damn button.
I love it.
I mean, honestly,
just do it.
It is. And I know that I actually get tired of that kind of advice from people like, well, just do it. It's like, it's not that easy. It's not that simple. It's difficult. I don't know. But here's the thing. I think people get afraid. I'll talk about what they're afraid of. People are afraid that they're going to not look good on video. Most people don't like how they look on video. So join the club, right? Most people are also afraid of making a mistake or sounding foolish, and it's live. So they're just like, oh no. Here's the thing. That's actually what people are going to expect. And you know what? It makes you that much more human and creates a deeper connection that we want. And here's the other thing I'll say about live video. The expectation is a lot lower than a pre-recorded video. If it's pre-recorded and edited, it better be good. And it probably should not have any mistakes in it. If it's live, people expect you to fumble over your words or, stutter or, maybe need to take a minute to look at your notes or whatever. Have you watched TV in the last 24 months? Like, look at all of the people. There aren't studio interviews anymore. These people are like, you're talking to like celebrities and they're using like a built-in webcam on a laptop and they're using headphones and they're talking to like the newscasters and it's just live and raw. And do we care? No, we're not like, well, that is a crappy looking video. It's
that wasn't perfect.
It's weird and it's like kind of blurry and like, that's not very fancy. Like nobody cares. You care about the person on video and what they're saying. And that's exactly what your audience cares about too. And so again, I think we put these fears in our heads that it has to be perfect or we have to look great. No, you don't. Just go be yourself, show up, which is what people want. And just understand that live video, while it seems scary and maybe harder, is actually easier because you can't be a perfectionist. You're live, you're doing it. And also your audience is
nobody expects you. Yeah. Nobody expects you to be perfect.
No. And again, you're being more human and people are actually going to respect you and like you even more. And so there is a lot of power in that. But so the fears, everybody's fears are different and based on different things. All I say to the fear is it's okay to be afraid. And the thing is that most people are. And so don't feel like you need to work on the fear before you can take action because, and you know how I feel about this. We always think sometimes that we have to wait to be courageous to take the action. It's actually the other way around. Action actually creates courage. So if you think
100%.
about when you're scared to jump off a high dive, if you stand at the bottom of that high dive, and what can you do to get ready to jump off a high dive into a pool? Nothing. Like, what can you do? Is there training you can do? Is there no, there's nothing you can do. The only thing you can do is walk up the steps and jump off the diving board into the pool.
Yeah.
So, okay, it's the same thing. Go up the steps, jump off the diving board. How do you feel when you get out of the water? You feel ready to go again.
Amazing. Yeah.
Ready to go do something else. Or, okay,
Yeah.
I did that. Now I feel good. I'm ready to move on. Like, if you wait to be courageous, there's nothing you can do to be more courageous. The only thing that makes you more courageous is to take action. Now, with that being said, that applies to many things in our lives and in our businesses. So, but I will say this, be careful about the size of the action that you're saying you will take. Because as I just said, the only thing you need is this little mobile phone in your hand to go live. Don't sit there and say, well, in order to take action though, Mel, I got to go buy a camera, I got to go buy lights, I got to go do this.
No, you don't.
The little actions, start with the little actions. So yes, action creates courage, but watch out for those times when you try to make that action bigger than it's supposed to be. So like I said, you don't really need to do anything to get ready. You just need to hit the damn button. So there you go.
And that's really good advice. I love it. Just do it. Creating that courage through action. But the one thing that I do before I go live, it's one of the things I'm afraid of is I'm going to forget what I was doing or forget what I was supposed to say. Guys, I make a quick little bullet list of the major points. So like if I'm going to go live, there's these 3 things that I definitely need to cover on this live because that's the purpose of it. But sometimes like nerves can get the better of you and you're like, what was I forget what I was about to say. Just make a quick bullet list if that's what's going to save you, if that's what's going to take some of that fear away. And then, like Mel says, hit the damn button.
Yeah. I mean, that's really the best thing you can do. Inside of my live video bootcamp, there's a whole entire module about prepping for a video. And I very much encourage what you just did. Like just write down those key things that you need. Don't script it out though. Right.
Yes.
So I provide like a template, like, hey, here's how you can prepare. And here's the thing, you don't have to. The more live videos you create, you may find that you don't need them. And so, but definitely having a bit of an outline for your live videos is 100% going to empower you to feel more prepared, which is going to, again, eliminate some of that barrier of entry into clicking the button. So I do love that tactic. I love that tip for sure.
Thank you. Sometimes I also listen to a song or two if I need to get like hyped up. But that's just a normal part of my day.
Same.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So we have a couple of goodies for you. So Mel, first of all, where can they find you and follow you online? And then tell them about the freebie you have.
Yeah. So I can pretty much be found anywhere at Melanie Dyann, and that's spelled Dyann. So I'm on YouTube. I would love to see you guys come join me over on YouTube. And I have a Facebook group called DIY Marketing with Melanie. So if you are wanting to learn about marketing yourself in the DIY style, we've got a lot of other DIY marketers in there too. And it's a free community where we just kind of hang out. And again, I like to help people and serve people in there. But yeah, so I know that, again, going back to the question of what should we talk about, one of the challenges I run into when I work with my students in my programs is they always say, I can't come up with ideas. I don't have any ideas. I can't. So I came up with a list essentially of 50 ideas. Now, some of these ideas, you may read the list and say, oh, that idea doesn't apply to me, whatever. You can pretty much take any one of these ideas though, and you can tweak it or pivot it in some way to apply to you. And so if you, and it's really the whole point of the list is to generate creativity, but also some people say, Mel, I just grab the list and I just pick one and then I make that next week's video. And I just pick one and I go. So that list is super helpful because I don't have to think about it. I just pull one and I pick it and I'm like, there you go. I'm doing a guest next week. I'm going behind the scenes next week, whatever. So you can get that at melaniedyann.com/50. And I'm sure that Julie, you'll put that in your show notes and all the stuff there too. And we talked about StreamYard earlier. So I know that you'll also include a link for people to sign up for StreamYard. And I know that because you're a partner, you can offer them a 14-day free trial to get started with StreamYard. So I definitely would recommend that's another resource I always want to push to people because it does, if you have like I said, a computer and a webcam and a mouse, you can create some pretty dang awesome videos when you use StreamYard.
Yeah. Even with the free plan. that they have. So yeah, we will definitely put all those links in the show notes. Thank you so much, Mel. This has been so fun. I love talking shop with you, and you always have so much good, usable content to share. So thank you so much.
You're welcome, my dear. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
So listeners, if you are going live, be sure to tag us so we can be there with you. We can comment and engage with you and cheer you on. I would love to hear about any live video you are doing. And if this episode was inspiring to you, then I would encourage you also to rate and review and subscribe, of course, to the podcast so that more people like you can find it. So thank you, as always, for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.